gmail.com.
Hey everybody, I am Alina Pete and I make comics you can read at weregeek.com or at alinapete.com. And I'm on
Um,
social media as Alina Pete or Where Geek. There's a lot of social medias right now. None of them look great.
Alina,
Yeah.
I have made a QR code for conventions that people can scan to sign up to my newsletter.
Smart. I have made a QR code that people can use to get to my website and link to my portfolio, but I like your idea better.
Yeah. I mean, I got flyers to tell people what my website is. So
I'm not spending money on flyers anymore when people have phones and they can do a QR code.
um I just have the cheapest black and white flyers, so it's literally like $10 for 50 or 100 of them. So
Good.
I'm not sweating it too much. Like, if people throw them out, that's fine.
Yeah.
What have you been watching / engaging in this week?
I've been watching some Top Chef. Top Chef's been very good this season. It's all stars. Love my chef show. Also watched the highlights of the World's Strongest Man. I don't know if you know that the World's Strongest Man this year is a Canadian dude who just started
I did
doing
not
this
know
like
that.
a year ago. Yeah, his name is Mitch Hooper, and his nickname is The Moose, which is about as Canadian as
Good.
you could possibly get.
Good.
Yep. He was like an Instagram strong guy. He was just like doing like, here's how to train your body, everybody on Instagram. Look at me do this crazy lift. And then he got a lot of attention, and a bunch of the competition started reaching out to him, and were like, hey, you could probably maybe compete with us. So he got called in as an alternate to one of these competitions, and he only had like a week to train for it.
World's Strongest Man.
For World's Strongest Man, he was the alternate for last year, and he came in and he actually did like really well. Made the finals, which no one expects from like just an alternate who's just started training for it like a week ago.
Best debut ever.
It was the best debut ever. And
Yeah.
then he did Arnold's and placed really high, and then he came and he won World's Strongest Man this year. So he's been like fucking cleaning up. Oh, he won Arnold's. Oh shit, I forgot he won Arnold's this year.
First ever Arnold's he won.
He's okay, so he's winning all of the things. He is the strongest boy.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good.
He's
Good for
good.
him on all fronts.
And he's super friendly and like super down to earth. He's just a very chilled guy. I like him a lot. Most of the strong guys are though. Like they're like big, intimidating looking guys that are actually just teddy bears and just really excited about being big and strong. They're great. I love them.
I have continued to rewatch Bob's Burgers. I'm almost done.
Good. Good.
There's a lot of Bob's Burgers.
There's a lot. They'll keep you going for a while.
Yeah. I'm on the newest season, so almost caught up.
Nice. I gotta jump to my other monitor for a minute. You won't be able to see me draw, but I'm just getting my file ready to actually draw. This panel I did for this comic is so big, I had to scan it in 4 parts, and I have to jump into this other program here to sew them all together.
Put them together, yeah.
Yeah, so the stream won't be able to see what's going on for a minute or so, but I will be back shortly.
So you're reading Chainsaw Man, and you looked up spoilers about Makima.
Yes, because I needed to know.
Thoughts?
I knew something weird was up with her. Jump out of the stream now if y'all don't want some Chainsaw and spoilers that are not in the anime, because we haven't got that far yet.
But now that you know the spoiler, I can send you that video that's an analysis of the opening.
Good.
Because it's basically
what the fuck's up with her.
Because the thing with the snail that she is feeding.
Yeah, it's like a hallucinogenic worm.
Well, no, it's the snail has a fungus. It's like the fungus that mind controls ants.
Oh, like cordyceps.
It's like a snail equivalent.
Funky.
So
Zay
so
Frank.
she is
Oh, go ahead.
so she is giving Denji a thing to be mind controlled.
Yeah. If you are not freaked out by gross funguses and also are a fan of Zay Frank, there is a very good one of his like True Facts episodes on
Mhm.
cordyceps and other parasitic fungi that brain control things, and it's real cool, but also really gross. Fungi do some terrible things to insects when they infect them.
Yeah. But yeah, and then there's also like shots of Makima it's her using her fingers to like line up a shot like she's a director.
Yes.
And then in the scene with them all in the movie theater,
Mm-hmm.
Aki is the only character that doesn't move in that scene.
Oh.
And he's like just staring very intently at the screen and doesn't
Yeah.
move. And the light of the projector behind him is making a halo shape. Because
Right.
when it is revealed her deal, people under her control have a little halo thing around them.
Ah, cool.
So,
I still don't
that
know
it's a
how
good,
he dies yet, but I know Darn's horrible because that's what
yeah.
Future said.
I love Future Devil. He's my favorite.
I love that he
Him
doesn't
and
give a shit.
Future is awesome.
Man, I drew so many freaking caribou this week. You will see when I'm working on this comic. There's just 1,000,000 caribou.
Also I watched a YouTube video that I tweeted about, and then Corey made fun of my tweet. Because it's a guy went to all the real world places in Fallout.
Oh, rad.
Or
I
their
would love to
closest
do that
equivalent.
sometime. I would love that.
So he broke it up. He has one video that is the first few games.
Yeah.
And Fallout New Vegas, because those are all in the same general area.
Right.
And he then drove across country and did Fallout 3, 4, and 76.
Nice.
And Fallout 4 is set in Boston.
Yep.
And most of the video is good, but there is a suburb of Boston that he mispronounced. And it drove me insane as he kept talking about it.
And you're like, no.
No, that's wrong.
That's not how you
That's
say
wrong. That. It's tells you how to say it on its Wikipedia page.
Mm-hmm.
Sir, you are incorrect.
Did you not think people from Boston would want to watch this and see how their town is represented?
Because there is a suburb in Boston called Natick.
Yeah.
And it is spelt Natick.
Right, so he's calling it Natick.
Yes. And
that's how I'd pronounce that, but it is incorrect.
Yep, so I was just driven slightly insane by that segment of the video, but overall,
Right.
like, the video is pretty
Pretty
good.
good.
Yeah.
I've never been to Boston. I don't have a ton of area knowledge about Boston, and now I'm playing through Fallout, and I'm like, cool. I would actually like to go see some of these places
Well, when you
before the
go,
bombs fall.
tell me, and I can lead you,
Yeah.
and then we'll go to Dunkin' Donuts again,
Hell yes.
because there's 9 million of those.
Unlike in San Diego, where there's like what, one?
Yes, there's one.
Yeah,
It's
it's the only
basically the
one.
further you get from Boston, the less common Dunkin' Donuts goes. So finding a Dunkin' Donuts on the West Coast is very hard.
Oh heck, I missed a piece on my caribou picture. I'm gonna be right back. Y'all, I'm still here. I just gotta continue sewing it together.
What was very funny and an excellent use of TikTok is some intern for a Boston local news site made a like, if you're visiting Boston, there's this little hole in the wall place that you should go to called Dunkin's. And then he's like, and
You
then
may never have
if
heard
you
of it.
want, well, he's like, if you want a great cup of coffee, there's a little hole in the wall, Dunkin's. And then it goes, and then you can leave Dunkin's, and just 3 blocks away, if
Is
you're
there another
interested
one?
in an excellent pastry, there's another little small place called Dunkin'. And then if you maybe want a sandwich, just 10 blocks away from that, like,
Nice.
and the
Good.
joke is always it's Dunkin'.
It's Dunkin'. It's Dunkin'. It's always Dunkin'.
So it's very funny.
I was realizing the other day that I don't know all the good restaurants in my hometown anymore. It's been too long since I was last there. There was one of the contestants on this year's Top Chef is from Saskatoon. So I was like delighted to hear Saskatoon being said on television. I was like, yay, hometown boy, I got to cheer for him. But now I'm like, shit, I had never heard of his restaurant, and I would like to go there next time I'm in Saskatchewan. Also, nice to hear Saskatchewan pronounced correctly on TV.
Yeah, that's a thing where so my hometown, Waltham, gets mispronounced by towns that are right next door. So like
Right.
almost no one pronounces it correctly.
Yeah.
So when I watched the HBO show Hacks, and the main character says she's from Waltham, I was like, oh, someone on this show clearly lives
Is from
there
there.
or lived there because she said it right.
Yeah.
Which Mad Men, for all its obsession with accuracy, did not do.
Boo.
And neither did 30 Rock. So
I say Waltham.
Yeah, they say Waltham.
Right.
Or Waltham.
Waltham.
Yeah. So always it's always good when shit gets pronounced correctly.
Saskatchewan. I've been doing a deep dive into accents this week.
Yeah.
Have you watched Peaky Blinders?
I started it and then I think I got bored and did something else.
Gotcha.
It was at a disadvantage for my attention because there are no vampires or werewolves in it.
I mean, that's true. There are none. You could run a Peaky Blinders vampire game. I could make that work. But there are not nearly enough werewolves. But yeah, so I was looking into the Birmingham accents because I was interested. It's a very interesting accent.
Have you read any of the Peter Grant books?
No.
They're very good. And the guy who reads the audiobooks is apparently very good at accents.
Oh, really?
So, the author, learning that his audiobook reader is good at accents, to fuck with him, then started to pick more and more specific and obscure accents for this guy to try and do.
Good.
So, so far the audiobook reader has risen to the challenge.
Excellent. Love it. Love to see it.
It is an English book, and he's not great at American accents, but he's still better than most. But yeah, it's very funny that there's like a little interview with the author where he's like, yeah, no, I learned he was good at accents, and is like, well, I gotta take advantage of this and put all the accents in there.
Good. Hang on. This is not going well. Okay. Back to the beginning. Sewing stuff together is always tricky.
Also, a show I really like, The Great, is about to start up again.
Oh yeah.
It's about Catherine the Great, and it's like they're like kind of based on a true story, because it's really following the rule of funny rather than historical accuracy. Yeah. What's his name, who is Renfield in the new Renfield movie, plays her husband.
Yeah, awesome. I do want to see that.
He's very good at being terrible.
Good. I've heard Renfield is very, very fun. And it's got vampires, so like it's right up your alley.
Yeah. I mean, could be better. There could be werewolves in it.
That's true.
But
it's pretty vampire.
I will accept vampires.
It's also got Nick Cage as the most ridiculous vampire, which is like really all you need. Do love Nick Cage chewing the scenery.
I mean, they don't kiss, so they're cowards. Yeah.
I had to change my plans for tomorrow. Because I thought the D&D movie would be in theaters another week, and it is not.
No.
So we are scrambling, and we're gonna go watch. At least not we're near our house. We'd have to go like way out of our way to go watch it. So we were like, fuck it, we're taking the afternoon off. Both of us, let's go see D&D. They need to see it in the theater. I think we are contractually obligated to go and see it in the theater, given how long both of us have been playing various iterations of D&D. So I will tell you tomorrow.
I'm interested in seeing it, so if you cannot successfully see it tomorrow, maybe I'll just rent it and we can watch it at your place.
Cool.
Because iTunes usually has it up for rent, like, as soon as it's out of theaters.
Yeah. I think it's still in theaters for another little bit, but it's just not right around where we are. They do this thing where they do like really quick turnover at the theater near us, where they're like, right, it'll be here, it'll play for like 2 weeks tops, and then it'll be gone.
I mean, I guess that's good because you get a wide variety, but
Yeah, it's not good if you're busy though and you don't have a lot of time to watch movies. You're like, shit, I wanted to
yeah.
watch that one. It's gone now. We went to try and watch that Quantumania there, and their screen was broken, and it was the very last day that it was playing, so we just didn't get to see it.
The what mania?
Quantumania, the Ant-Man movie.
Oh.
Yeah.
I've already told you my feelings on Marvel movies.
Oh no, for sure.
Yeah, which is maybe why I didn't know what the title for the new Ant-Man movie was.
Yeah. There's already another new Marvel movie out too.
Yeah.
Guardians, woo! Too many damn movies, y'all.
Guardians was, I think, what started to make me reconsider going to Marvel movies. Because I saw it very close together with Jupiter Ascending.
Oh yes, yeah.
And even though Guardians is technically a better movie, Jupiter Ascending is a more interesting movie.
Yeah.
Because it's weirder.
It doesn't have idiot wolf boys.
But like that wolf boy could have been wolfier.
He was just
and he's not really an idiot. He's just kind of generic stoic hot guy. But his gun barks.
That's good. That's very important.
And there's a weird bureaucracy planet. And yeah. And a guy who is a bee, so he can sense royalty. Bees can sense royalty is the wildest fucking thing.
It's very. That's why they have to tell the bees when the queen died. Bees know that shit. Some weird fucking superstitions.
I was very jealous of people that went to comic camp.
Me too. I want to go to comic camp
But
somewhere.
now I'm reading that there was a COVID outbreak there. So
oh no. No.
Good that we skipped it, I guess.
Yeah.
Have you watched any other good animes lately?
I've started watching God of High School. It is a lot. I think we discussed this last week. Where like the main
it's
the, main
the most
protagonist,
shonen of all the shonens.
He's so fucking shonen. It's ridiculous. It's like shonen prime. It's interesting stylistically. It's a very stylized thing. So like, it's over the top as fuck. It's teens fighting each other in a big, deathmatch arena, but they've got nanobots that even if you die will bring you back to life. Is their explanation? And I'm just like, right, no, don't think about the science. Don't. It's a dumb anime. Whatever. Hand wave. This is how they get away with. Children can fight each other and die, and it's okay.
Oh, also now that I can talk to you about the secret hidden meanings in the Chainsaw Man opening.
Yeah.
golden balls is a euphemism for testicles in Japan.
Right?
So you have Denji
Surfing
rubbing
down the
his
street.
golden ball
Yep.
in the bowling scene.
Yep.
And then there is the scene with Makima petting him, feeding him that weird snail, and then his nose bleeds, and a
Yes.
thing comes out of his head
Mm-hmm.
that is phallic shaped as
Mm-hmm.
he's excited.
Yep.
Um,
Had not
and then
I had not
in
missed
the
that.
after, and then there is another golden ball in the fight. So it is two balls and a dick in the center.
Yeah. It's his sexual awakening.
Um,
Also, the this one is one from Beastars that I think we talked about already, but the whole
mhm,
symbology of like collecting bugs is a young boy's activity, and so when Legosi like loses his bug, his first bug friend who then comes back and helps him out, it's like, oh
mhm,
no, he's now reaching manhood. He's putting aside all of
yeah.
his childish things like his bug collection. Which makes the scene where he then has to eat a bunch of bugs to power up very weird.
It's also weirdly erotic.
Yes. So much about that show is weirdly erotic in ways that it shouldn't be. You're like, this is what are you trying to do here? Excuse me.
Um,
Okay, I think I finally got this caribou herd working together. I hope people enjoy all of the work I spent drawing 1 million caribou.
good. At least they appreciate it.
Also, I had to look up biology facts because I was like, okay, this is supposed to take place in February. I know that
How
female caribou still have antlers in the winter. Do the males? And they do not. So half of the caribou here have no antlers and are actually male caribou. Although I'm sure people will read it as the ones without antlers are the girls. And I'm like, nope, nope, that's not how caribou work. Caribou facts.
um the game that I like, Crusader Kings 3.
Oh yeah, I saw that one was on sale.
Um, it is on sale. I got into playing Crusader Kings because with Crusader Kings 2, there is a very detailed mod that makes it Westeros.
Yeah, you were telling me about that. You said it's quite good.
Yeah, and it got me into playing Crusader Kings.
Nice.
I then tried to play the regular version and was like, this is boring because there's no dragons in it.
Yeah.
Um, and you can't hire a magical assassin who will demand payment with your eyeballs.
Where's the fun in that then?
Yeah, where's the fun in that if I can't try to get a faceless man to kill my enemies?
Yeah.
And what was extra fun is the characters are in there. But if you play as Littlefinger, he has like maxed out every stat.
Right.
So really if you play as him, you're like speed running the game. Like how far can you get before he dies?
Yeah, yeah.
Um the problem though is that there's a real limit to what you can do um with like intrigue stuff in 2.
Mm,
So when I played, I mostly played as the Starks
right.
and got my warging on.
Yep. Gotta get some warging.
And But Crusader Kings 3 has vastly expanded the non-warfare parts of the game.
Good. So you can, if they do a mod for it, it would actually be pretty good.
Yeah, so they could do, so it is now viable to play as Littlefinger if they made a mod. They just released the Crusader Kings 3 version of the mod. I need to finish the graphic novel I'm supposed to write before I jump in on it.
Good.
But that is definitely a thing I will do in the near future.
On your to playlist.
Yeah.
I have been watching all of the Tears of the Kingdom coverage. I don't have a copy myself, and I'm not done Breath of the Wild yet because it takes me a very long time to play that game because I will just go off and fish or make food or do all the fun stuff. So I need to actually sit down and finish the game.
I am a completionist.
Mm-hmm. And there's 1,000,000 Korok poop to find.
Well, the thing is I found all those.
Good.
I got stuck on getting the Master Sword. The way you level up your Master Sword is you have to do all these things without your stuff.
Yeah.
Some of it is really, really hard.
Yes.
And
yeah, I wouldn't try to complete that part. That's a lot.
So I've basically done all that except for the really, really hard, try-hard stuff.
Yeah.
And beating Ganon.
Yeah.
So should probably beat Ganon.
There is so much sexy boy art of Ganon this week. My goodness, everybody is getting their horny Zelda art out of their system.
There is because they put Ganon in the hands of a man who likes him a sexy Ganon.
Yep, and it is very, it's been working real well. They knew what they were doing.
But yeah, I have to defeat Ganon before I go get this new Zelda game.
Right.
But also, I told myself I need to beat The Witcher 3 before I go buy a new game.
That's smart.
And I haven't had time to play The Witcher 3.
I'm
like almost done.
Ages ago, and I know that it will be an undertaking to even start it, so I just haven't.
Apparently it has a really low finish percentage. Because it is such a long game.
Yeah.
I think CD Projekt Red intentionally tried to make shorter games because of how low the completion percentage was on.
Interesting. Well, I am certainly upping the stats on the completion rates for Cyberpunk because I've definitely played through that a bunch of times and gotten a bunch of different endings with a bunch of different characters because you got to get all the different life paths and then all the different romances.
I think Cyberpunk is a shorter game than Witcher 3.
It's still I've managed to put in well over 400 hours on it, so yeah, it's not that short.
I'm gonna do a quick Google search to see how long to complete The Witcher 3. How long to 100% The Witcher 3. So, speed runs of The Witcher 3
Yeah.
are 51 and a half hours.
Okay. That's a hefty speed run.
A lot of people are saying over 300 hours to do everything.
Yeah, that sounds about right. From what I've heard, it is a dense game.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely spent at least that long just fucking around in Skyrim.
Yeah.
There's a lot to do.
I don't know if I told you this, but I started a replay of Skyrim.
Yep.
And learned that if you never go to where that first dragon shows up and you first like absorb its soul,
Yeah.
the game can't spawn any dragons.
Oh.
So
run around and do the rest of the game.
I might do a thing where I want to see how much of the game I can do before I have to trigger that first dragon.
Nice. I know there was the person who did a run where they were like, I just took levels in mage. I have no weapons. I just do spell casting. And they said basically the first 10 hours of the game are just running around trying not to die. And you suck at everything. You don't have enough mana to cast spells. So you're just like, cast a spell, run away until your mana recharges, and then cast another spell and then run away. Like, it's very annoying. But if you stick it through it, when you get to the like even level 5, 6, 7, you start to be able just to like nuke your way through the enemies. And then it's a completely different game than if you were playing like a sword or a arrow character. Like, you're just like, what kind of crazy magical shit can I do now? I can do literally anything. This is great. I am god awful and having a great time. And that would be a fun playthrough. Both of my playthroughs were not mage characters because of the magic is a little
I
silly.
always end up being a bow and arrow person because
Same.
like
I like bow and arrow. I like staying at distance, and I like not getting hit.
I like snipering a guy, watching all his buddies freak out, look
Yep.
for me, be unable to find me, and then go back to what they're doing while
Hell
their
yes.
friend's dead body is right there.
Hell yes. I did that with my first Khajiit playthrough. It was like a stealth sniper arrow with all of the stealth forever. That was very fun.
The Khajiit are fucking wild.
They're great. I love that they're little dudes, and I like that they have cats that are also just them.
But see, it's how cat they are.
Yeah.
Is determined by the phase of the moon when they're born.
Yeah.
So you have like their cats,
like just
giving
an actual
birth
cat
to cat girls.
Yes.
That's wild to
Just
me.
a little cat kitten, a cat girl kitten, and then it grows up into a whole person. And its mom is just an actual cat.
Mm-hmm.
I like how the Khajiit were not allowed in any of the cities, but you're the Dragonborn, so you're just like, fuck you, I'm going everywhere.
Oh, Spike doesn't like that because my immersion.
Yeah.
Spike was like, you should at least have to sneak into the first city before they realize that you're the Dragonborn.
Yeah, because otherwise, why are they letting you in here?
Yeah.
Skyrim will always be the game that got me through that awful 2020 Christmas. Everything was awful that year. But I had just, on the advice of a friend, been told, hey, you might want to, like, if you're going to build a gaming computer, you want to do it now. This crypto thing means all the crypto bros are going to be buying up all the good video cards. So, like, put your system together now. And so I had, like, a brand new, ready to go, good gaming system. And I finally broke open the copy of Skyrim I had sitting around for a while on Steam. And put a lot of hours into it that Christmas because we weren't going anywhere and we couldn't see family.
Have you put any fun mods in your Skyrim game?
I didn't the first playthrough, and then the second playthrough I've added some fun stuff. It's like some cool merchant stuff,
Like,
some fun.
you can make all the dragons into Thomas the Tank Engine characters.
Oh shit, I haven't done that one.
You can replace the moon with the Majora's Mask moon.
Good.
I mostly know about these mods because I used to watch Touch the Skyrim.
Good.
Which was Griffin McElroy and a canceled party playing Skyrim, and basically every time they booted it up, Griffin would add mods without telling his co-host.
Right. So they'd be like, "What the fuck is going on?
And
Why
then
is it working like this now?"
And then they would every time there was a new episode, they would add new mods until the game broke. And then they would start over with different mods. So like the start of the game, replaced all the trees with hands.
Oh, good. Exciting.
There's the Majora's Mask moon.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what some of the others were. I forget I think he used the Thomas the Tank Engine dragons on the first run.
Good.
But what I thought was really funny is the mod that eventually crashed the game is it puts the entire script of this entire screenplay of the movie B-Movie.
Oh God.
Into all the books.
No. Oh, what a cursed object.
And those Skyrim books are not made to have that much text in them.
No.
So yeah, he opened that book and it would like instantly crash the game.
Man, I did a bunch of mods of like the alternate companions where like fan people have just made entirely new companions that are really cool and have their own storylines. There's a really good Khajiit one.
I mean,
he's like a good buddy.
You can have Sonic as a companion. That's in the game.
Why didn't I have Sonic?
Yeah. Why didn't you travel across Skyrim with Sonic the Hedgehog?
I mean, I've always wanted to.
Sam would be so disappointed in you.
I know. We actually had a big discussion about that. A bunch of cartoonists were together, and we were like, so Sam's really into this, but are you a Mario or a Sonic? And I'm like, dude, obviously Mario. Like, Mario all the way, y'all. And they were like, yeah, same, Mario, 100%.
Oh.
And so you can kind of divide a room of cartoonists by whether they're a Sonic stan or a Mario stan. What system they grew up with.
I was all Sonic all the time.
Gotcha. So you're on the Sam side of the room. I had
because he had the cooler TV show, like.
But PlayStations were more expensive.
So Sega's.
Yeah. Sega's. Yeah. Sorry. Early gaming. I wasn't bougie enough for a for a Sega. Especially not for
No. Maybe that was different in Canada, but in the US they were about the same price because otherwise we would not have gotten a Sega.
Right.
The real bougie thing is to have both.
Oh yes. Oh God, yeah. Then you're real bougie.
The rich kids had both.
Yes. And then also the handheld
Uh,
games as well. I did not. I had my Game Boy, which I saved up for myself and bought specifically so that when we were doing the like 5 hour trip between Saskatoon and Edmonton, I could play games in the car. The breathing made my tummy hurt.
mhm.
And I had the very first Wario game, several of the Mario games, Yoshi's Cookie, which I found out was made by the same guy that made Tetris.
That checks out.
Yeah, he did this thing
Um,
where he was like a Russian national, so for years
mhm.
he didn't actually own the rights to Tetris because he'd done it while sort of working for the Soviet government, and the rights were really tied up and weird. But then the Soviet Union fell apart, and the rights reverted to him. And then so he made a bunch of money off of it finally. But in that interim, he made zero money off of it and fled to the States, and then got a job working for Nintendo and made Yoshi's Cookie. So he
um,
initially made not a penny off of Tetris, even though it was like the best selling game in the world and still is.
yeah. Um, I think like so we had a Sega and then we had a Game Gear. And
Yep.
when I say we, I mean mostly my brother.
Yeah.
Um, because most of the games were his.
Mm.
And then when the PlayStation came out, we were told you can't get a new system because the Sega still works.
Yep.
So we basically had to wait for our Sega to break before we got a PlayStation.
Right.
Um, though part of what like got my mom to be like, well, maybe we should get it is the PlayStation could play DVDs,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
she wanted a DVD player.
Yep.
So,
So oh, we
my
can get DVD
mom
players and the
really,
kids can play stuff. Hey.
yeah, my mom though really bought into that like playing PlayStation for more than like an hour gave you seizures or something. Some
Oh yeah.
like health scare like that.
Yep. My mom was big on that
So
too.
she would set a timer and we had to go do something for 15 minutes.
Yep.
Like we could leave it running, just we had to pause the game and like go do something in another room.
Yeah.
Um,
Whereas I straight up, I was not allowed to play past an hour. I was like, no, now you got to go outside and play. Go hang out with your friends or something. And I'm like, yeah, but my friends are they just want to play games too. We just want to play Nintendo. She's like, go outside, get some air. Although my uncle had an Atari way back in the day, and I got to play on it once he didn't really play it anymore, and he had oh god, I can't remember what the name of the game was, but it was like this short order cook where all of the food was sliding around the screen, and you had to grab, a burger patty and stack it on the bun, and then run back and grab the lettuce and the cheese before it went
mhm.
off the edge of the screen. It was fun. It was a good one. Burger time.
um,
So I kind of inherited that one.
and then shortly after getting a PlayStation, my older brother was old enough to have a job.
Mm.
And the first thing he bought with his disposable income was a Nintendo 64.
Oh, nice.
So we had PlayStation and Nintendo 64. And then when PS2 came out, we got told the PlayStation still works, so you can't get a PS2.
Right.
And then my little brother dropped, in quotation marks, our
Oops.
PlayStation
Oops.
while bringing it back from vacation because our grandma didn't have cable. So when it was raining out, there wasn't really anything to do, which is why
Right.
our parents agreed to let us take the PlayStation with us.
Right.
So yeah, while unpacking, my little brother, quote unquote, dropped it. And then we got a PS2.
Gotcha. Oops.
And then all of us were old enough to have part-time jobs. So I forget who, but one of my siblings got the GameCube, but I was already off at college when that came out, so I didn't play
Oh,
it that
gotcha.
much.
Yeah, I never had a GameCube. I had an N64, and that was the only game system that I didn't have to buy myself. I got it for Christmas one year when my parents were doing pretty well, and it came with Mario 64. I think it was also like
Oh, I did.
several years after it had been out.
My older brother and I both got Game Boy Colors when Pokemon came out.
Oh, nice.
What, around that time. So like we were a little late to Pokemon, but the idea was like, well, you can't get all the Pokemon in one game. So like the
Yeah,
agreement
you
is
each gotta have one.
I would get blue and my brother would get red, and
Yeah, good.
that,
And then you could
marketing
trade and get
scam.
all the Pokemon.
Yeah. Yeah. And that marketing scam worked on us both.
Yep, 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 yep. It was a hell of a marketing scam. I got things so much later than most of my classmates that I wasn't able to trade. So I just had when I eventually got a Game Boy Color, I think I got the Game Genie and then was able to cheat myself some Pokemon.
I am very tempted to try some Pokemon Kaizos.
Ooh.
If you don't, do you know what those are?
No.
They are modded Pokemon emulators that are harder.
Right. I think you were telling me about these.
Yeah, well, I showed you that guy's video where he died 150 times playing Emerald Kaizo.
Right. He was the guy who did the crazy Nuzlocke run too, right?
Yes, yeah, he
Yeah.
Nuzlocks his Kaizos.
It's stupid. That was ridiculous.
So yeah, so the games are like ridiculously hard to the point where they're kind of just mean. Like the Emerald Kaizo was so hard partly because the first gym leader, all of her Pokemon have self-destruct.
Yes.
So yeah, it's stuff like when you play regular Pokemon, it's kind of silly that the gym leaders don't have 6 Pokemon.
Yes.
Or that more people don't have 6 Pokemon. So just putting all that shit in. And like Blue Kaizo is even meaner. Because so in a lot of Nuzlocks, if worse comes to worse, you can get the gym leader to use up all their PP on their really dangerous moves.
Yeah.
So
they can't just obliterate you constantly.
Yeah, so like Blizzard, like you can get them to use up all their PP on Blizzard, and then you don't have to worry about that attack anymore. And it is safe to put out your Pokemon that are weak to Blizzard. And so in Blue, the original game, and in the Kaizo, because they're trying to emulate OG Blue, your opponents don't have PP, only you have PP.
Oh no.
So you cannot get your opponent to use up all their moves, because they always have them.
Ooh boy. Like it wasn't
And what's
already rough
great,
enough.
yeah, and so then combine that with the fact that all your opponents are smarter.
Right.
They're rough games.
Yeah.
Like the guy I showed you who does the crazy Nuzlocke, he usually has a rule where like he can't use items.
Right.
Because while most people don't use the X attack and X defense, if you're doing a Nuzlocke and do actually use them, you realize how broken they are. Because a lot of those super powerful attacks, to balance out the fact that they're super powerful, have like 50% accuracy.
Yeah.
So
But if you're doing
you
a
give
Nuzlocke,
your
you just dial that up.
Yeah, and so if you're doing a Nuzlocke and you haven't banned yourself from using items, if you use X accuracy on that, you've now just got a Pokemon who can steamroll everybody else's Pokemon. So yeah, so I would like to give some of those a shot. Or do like a 2-person Nuzlocke, which is basically you and a friend do a Nuzlocke of the same game.
Oh, interesting.
And your Pokemon are linked.
Huh. So if your Pidgey dies, then they have to get rid of
Well,
theirs?
it's not necessarily your Pidgey and my Pidgey are linked. It is whatever we both caught on Route 1.
Oh, okay.
Those are linked.
Woof.
So I might have a Rattata and you might have a Pidgey.
Right.
And we have to go in with the Pokemon that are linked together to any gym.
Woof.
And usually when people do this to make it more interesting, they have a randomizer turned on. Because otherwise you're gonna catch kind of the same Pokemon. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yes, you might catch a Rattata or a Pidgey, on Route 1, but like there's only 2 options, so there is a chance that you could both have a Rattata or both have a Pidgey. So if it's a randomizer, there's a very funny YouTube by an animator where she played a Nuzlocke with her buddy, and it was like the joke is that he kept running into legendaries.
Jeez.
And then she would get like a Shroomish. Like,
right. Cool. Super helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's got this like crazy team of like Mewtwo, Entei, just all the legendaries. And she's got like a Mankey, a Scuttle, whatever the little turtle worm one is.
Shuckle.
Yeah, Shuckle, yeah.
I hate Shuckle. Shuckle's really divisive. People either really love Shuckle or really hate Shuckle, and I'm on the like that thing gives me the creeps side of the equation.
I hate Milk Tank.
Yeah, I don't like Miltank.
I think ever since the Pokemon got animated during battles, Milk Tank has gotten even worse.
Yep.
Because it's utter jiggles on a loop
Yep.
while you
Don't like
fight
it.
it.
Don't want to look at it. It's weird. It's funny how there's some Pokemon that people absolutely love, and then others are like, oh hell no, I hate that one. I don't even want to look at it. It's the worst.
I was talking to Kevin about the Pokemon that people want to fuck.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. There's a million of those.
Yeah, but usually they're fighting Pokemon.
Yeah, because they're humanish.
Because they're humanish.
That does
But
not
also,
stop.
it's one of those things where, like, okay, to show that something is in shape, we make it more humanish.
Yes.
And so you have stuff like, Lot Bunny, I think its name is.
Yep.
Is part fighting, and the way they show that it's part fighting is it just has the biggest thighs.
Mm-hmm.
And that has led to everyone wanting to fuck it.
Oh, everyone wants to fuck that one. The hottest Pokemon, as far as the fan art I've stumbled across, or people have commissioned from me, everyone wants the Lopunny and Gardevoir. And
There's
what's
also
the
that meme about fucking Vaporeon.
yeah. And then for dude Pokemon, there's the come on, brain, the fox, the Shadow Fox guy.
Zoro or something.
Lucario.
Zorox.
Lucario.
Oh, I thought. Okay, so I thought you meant because that's a fighty fox guy, the
Yeah.
Sonic character.
Yeah.
The Zorox or whatever. It's a little black and red fox. And that one has. It's a shapeshifter, so that also gets people
Right.
riled up. I do know, according to Archive of Their Own, a lot of people want to fuck Mewtwo.
Oh, really? I guess that
Yeah.
makes sense. It's kind of humany.
And he talks.
And it's powerful. People like
yeah.
it powerful.
They want to get stepped on.
Yep. If you're gonna pick a Pokemon, I guess pick a Dami one? Question mark?
People do want to fuck Meowscarade.
Oh, is that
Weedcat's evolution.
the new Weed Cat?
Yeah, Weedcat's evolution.
Gotcha. I'd heard that the evolutions in this one, people were like not feeling them as much as in previous ones.
Well, I feel like final evolutions, the problem is that they keep getting more and more human.
Yeah.
Like, they don't know how to make them get bigger without turning them into a furry.
Yeah. I heard that was what people like about the little hot pepper crocodile, because he just turns into a bigger crocodile.
Yeah.
And they're like, yes, good. We want some animals and not just a bunch of dudes.
I mean, Incineroar is pretty great, but
Incineroar is very good. I also like Rowlet's final evolution as just like a ranger owl.
The archer guy, yeah.
It's very good.
But he's like an archer owl, so yeah. So it works because owls are already on two legs.
Exactly. So they don't suddenly become humanoid.
And well, Incineroar is more humanoid, because he's a pro wrestler. It works.
Yeah.
Whereas
he's just a lucha. It's good.
But like the ones in Sword and Shield, like those sucked.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember
I
the.
think
Oh God, yeah, the
the
monkey was weird. The lizard was.
I think the monkey was the best one.
Yeah.
The lizard basically turned into Gex.
Yes.
There is a
Like, what
contingent of
if
people
Gex
that want
went
to
to the
fuck
goth club?
him. Yeah, there is a bunch of people that do want to fuck him. But
Leather
it's
Daddy
like
Lizard?
the people who don't are like, this is boring and I don't
Yeah.
like it. And then the rabbit, it's the same thing as Lot Bunny. It's
Yeah.
just
It's just a big guy who's a rabbit. He had
mhm.
very strong not Neopets. There was a vibe to him that was very non-Pokemon. Like he had a oh he was very he would have fit in with Digimon very easily. He's sort of the most Digimon of the Pokemon evolutions.
Mhm. But I think the gorilla that is also a drummer
He's very
was the
good.
best out of the sword and the shield
Yeah.
ones.
I ended up going with the
Uh
lizard man on that one because I was like, I do like a little anxiety lizard, and then he turned into a big goth boy, and I was like, okay, acceptable. I like Quaxley in the latest edition, but I like the bird Pokemon, of course, because it's me. But I love the like extra fancy duck boy. He's very fun.
yeah, so I feel like this is a step up from the sword and the shield evolutions, but
Yeah, at least there's some fun evolutions.
it's no Charizard.
No, nothing is, but Charizard. Charizard's the best.
No, people that like Charizard are basic bitches.
I mean, I am a Bulbasaur stan
Yeah,
forever.
Bulbasaur #1 in the Pokedex, #1 in our hearts.
Yep, I do love a
All
Bulbasaur.
those Charmander simps are losers. These are our controversial Pokemon hot takes.
Our Poke takes.
Alina,
Yes,
what do you think Vaporeon's skin feels like?
we went on this one last week. I am
Oh, okay.
firmly
I already
on
asked
this
you
like
this
seal
question.
skin. It's like squishy
Okay.
seal skin. It's like
Okay.
slippery. Although I agree that it like could be like a fur seal, where it's a little bit
Or an
more
otter.
like yeah, where it's slick fur, but not a lot because
Maybe
it was furry.
um as long as it's the wrong answer is scales.
Yeah,
Because all the evolutions are mammals, even
yeah.
though they lay eggs. Scales are the wrong answer, despite the fins.
I could see an argument that the tail feels different than the rest of the body, but like it all looks the
I
same.
I feel like the tail, if it feels different from the rest of the body, it's either gonna be like a beaver tail
Mm,
or it will feel like dolphin skin.
yeah, and I'm on the dolphin skin camp. It just that's what it looks like. It's kind of shiny.
Mhm. Well, the funniest answer I got to this is Vaporeon feels like plastic, like all Pokemon, because they're all shiny.
That's true. Except some of them are so fluffy. I like the fluffy ones.
I do like the way a lot of them are rendered in Detective Pikachu.
Mm.
Um, a lot of people are talking about that they look creepy, and it's like, you know what? It's okay if some Pokemon look creepy because
Some
they are
Pokemon are
pocket
creepy.
monsters.
They're
Yeah,
real creepy AF.
yeah. I don't know if you saw that map, but it was each country's favorite Pokemon.
Oh, fascinating.
Um,
I would like to see that.
and it was based on like what Pokemon gets Googled the most by the country, and that's what they're assuming is someone's
Okay.
favorite.
Okay.
Um,
Still, there's an argument. That's some data.
And the US's favorite Pokemon is Gengar,
Good.
which is a good choice.
That's a good choice. That's solid. I like that people decided that Gengar and Clefairy are dating,
Or they're the same.
or that they're the same, but just dark and light version thereof.
Pre and post transition.
I would like to pet an Altaria. The good fluffy cloud bird.
Do you think they're fluffy or just wet because they're clouds?
I think they're fluffy. They look very fluffy.
But clouds also look fluffy.
That's true, and aren't.
They are water vapor. Which is why I was like, do you think maybe Altaria feels wet?
I think it feels cool. I think it would be cool to the touch.
What's your chat think?
Chat, what are you thinking? Altaria,
Do they have
wet or no?
Pokemon texture opinions?
Yeah. Is this a damp bird or just a regular bird?
Or maybe it feels like cotton.
There is a keyboard cleaner that is an Altaria, and I am very tempted to order it, even though I'd have to order it from Japan. That's just a good little bird that you sweep up your desktop with. So Sam was looking into webcomics folks who started about the same time as we did, and just sort of being like, I'm curious, who's still around? What are they up
I
to?
did see Sam's post about they're making a buttload on Patreon now with their fetish art.
I mean, fucking power to them.
Yeah.
Please.
Do what you love.
Yep.
As Dolly Parton said, find out who you are and then do that intentionally.
Exactly. And also, like, these days, if you can make a living as an artist in any way, fucking go for it. It's rough out there, y'all.
I mean, unless it makes you unhappy, but if
Yeah.
I feel like you don't just fall into drawing very specific fetish art,
Yes.
like
We were discussing that once on a long road trip where it was like, would you draw fetish art if you were not into the fetish? Because, like, it wouldn't mean anything to you. So, would it bother you? And I was like, I don't know that you can properly draw something if you're not into it. Like, you could
you
look at other
wouldn't
examples
be
of it.
doing it correctly. Like
Yeah.
if you have a foot fetish, you want those feet to have a level of detail that someone who isn't interested in feet is not going to
Be able to
engage
provide.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you at least have to be able to understand it to then tune your art towards it.
Like, I was explaining to Spike that when I read a werewolf comic, I can instantly tell if someone has a transformation fetish, based on how long the transformation takes in the comic.
Right. Are they really, really describing it in great detail?
Well, like, because the average comic that isn't into transformation fetish is gonna have the transformation take place over a page maximum.
Yeah.
And once it goes on longer than a page,
You start to have suspicions.
it's getting really into like the fine minute detail of like we're gonna watch as like the spine extends into a tail over multiple panels and their like feet slowly change and
You're like, okay, I see what you got going on here. I have a friend who draws transformation stuff. She's somewhat into it, but also like she's very good at anatomy, and so she really likes the like mental exercise of trying to figure out where everything would go. And she makes a nice little side dollars on that. God, I don't know what I'm doing with the palette in this thing. I had a palette in mind and it is not working. So now I'm just playing around with colors to see if I can make it do something.
According to Corey, the new Gargoyle comics are pretty good.
Oh yeah? Oh shit, I want to check those out. I love gargoyles.
I was wary because Dynamite is the one putting them out, and Dynamite also put out those absolutely hideous Game of Thrones comics. Where Arya is the sexiest, poutiest 10-year-old.
It's very weird and bad, and I don't like it.
Have you seen the Japanese covers for A Song of Ice and Fire?
I haven't.
They're wild.
Oh, yeah?
Give me a moment. Did that link work? I put it in our Discord chat.
Let me see if I can see it. Oh, yeah.
So, I linked you to a Reddit thread, but you have to click through to see all of them at once.
Wow. Okay, wow. These are very manga.
They're great though.
They're beautiful.
Like Arya in that first one looks like a Final Fantasy protagonist.
I was gonna say these all look like they remind me of Final Fantasy concept sketches.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's that very painterly, almost watercolor style on the coloring, and then everything's like hyper rendered in the folds of cloth and hair.
I love the Tyrion one because he looks so creepy.
Some of them are taking me a minute to figure out who's who.
I don't know who a lot of the conventionally attractive people are,
Yeah.
but
Oh, that's obviously
like
Tyrion.
obvious,
Yikes.
like the first one's Arya because Needle,
Yeah. Oh,
or
there's
maybe it's
Sam.
Jon Snow because it's a White Wolf.
I thought it was John.
Okay. And then the naked lady is obviously Daenerys because
That's
she got
Daenerys.
dragons draped on
Yeah.
her. Um,
And then that's
I guess
Arya, I think.
I guess the first one is John, and that's Arya, and then
I don't know who the
um,
redhead is.
uh, yeah, like
Or this sexy girl. She just
I
there.
think
She
this
pretty.
sexy girl like has to be Sansa.
Is it Sansa?
I don't know because
Like that's
I
obviously
can't think of
Tyrion, that's obviously Sam, and that's obviously what's his nuts?
Jamie.
Jamie.
Jamie. And then the
Yeah.
lady in red is obviously Cersei because she's got all
Yes.
the red and also wine.
Oh, and
And
then
then
there's
we have
another
another
Daenerys.
Daenerys. And then this is obviously Bran because he's in the spooky tree with a crow and a
Yeah.
wolf.
Yeah, he's doing some
Um,
warging. And then maybe Jon Snow again? They're
yeah,
beautiful though. They look like I said,
yeah,
they're like Final Fantasy concept
yeah.
art.
I assume that it's Jon Snow again because again the White Wolf.
Hmm.
Maybe the redhead is supposed to be Brienne, but I don't
Oh,
know.
I don't know.
Because I can't think of any other ladies with short hair.
Yeah.
Oh,
I wonder if that's there's kind of like a snake tree theme in the background. I'm trying to figure out who that would be.
well, part of me assumes it's a weirwood.
Yeah.
It might actually be Daenerys again because in the second book her hair got all burnt off when she hatched her
Oh,
dragons.
right. Except she's a redhead.
Um, yeah, I don't know.
Interesting.
But yeah, I like the Tyrion.
Yeah, Tyrion's great.
Uh, I like the Sam. Um, I like the Daenerys ones. I like how they did her dragons.
Hmm.
The wolves look kind of spooky.
The wolves look really spooky. I like an anime wolf. Generally do a very good job with those.
But yeah, Japanese covers for books are always interesting.
I don't
I always
know.
like to look at foreign covers because like it's very much like what sells
Yeah,
in this
internationally.
country.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um
Let's throw a ruler on here. Symmetrical. Yes.
like the Rivers of London books, they're in Japan they're called like His Majesty's Wizard or something like that.
Huh.
I'll send you a picture of that.
Cool.
Oh, that link should work, yeah.
Don't like that one.
He's actually got on his website all the international covers. So
Oh,
it's kind
cool.
of neat to compare different countries at once. The Czech covers look the coolest, in my opinion.
Oh, some of those are really cool. The German ones are really make them look like murder mysteries.
Yeah.
Like there's not very fantasy-esque, and then the Czech covers are like really pop arty. I love it. Japan's fascinating as always.
Mm-hmm.
The Polish covers are also very, very good. I really like the Romanian one though. That one's the one that pops the most for me. Just the like black and beige and red.
The Korean covers are
Really
really
good choice.
good design-wise.
Hmm.
I don't know if they convey what the thing is about well, but
But they're cool looking. They're cool to look at.
mhm. The Taiwanese covers also look murder mystery-ish.
Hmm.
Um, all these character covers do not want to put the main character on the cover.
Nope.
Nope. And when they do, he has to be silhouetted so you can't tell that he's black.
Yep. Because that they're like, oh, yep, people will buy it. Okay, that's a nice ornate teacup. Let me mess around with my settings. Let's do some fanciness on the saucer as well.
I remember explaining to some British people in a Discord chat how bad the US Discworld covers are.
I don't know if I've seen them because we usually get the British stuff.
Oh, they're so bad. They're like a solid cover and then a single object from the book.
Oh no. Oh, I definitely got the British
Yeah.
stuff then. It's the one nice thing about being in Canada is we'll often get the British covers, and they're way better. They're way better than the American ones.
The much later volumes, we started to get the British covers, partly because Terry Pratchett realized every time he went to an American signing, like he heard that, oh, his sales in the US weren't very good. But every time he went to a signing in the US, all the people in the US had bought the English covers and just imported them.
Because they're like, look, ours are shitty. We want something that looks nice.
Yeah. So he had to tell his publisher, his American publisher, like, yeah, your covers are bad.
Yeah, we should get better covers. These are not great.
Now they have fancy hardcovers of all the Discworld books, and they kind of have a woodcut design to them. And it works for some of the books, but not for all of them. Part of me kind of wants to get some of those really shitty paperback ones. And then like rebind them with covers that I designed myself.
Nice.
But I need time to do all that. I realized a lot of the books that I really like have very shitty covers. I was showing Kevin covers of Shannon Maguire's books.
Oh yeah.
And asking him to guess what they're about based on the cover.
I don't know that I've actually seen the cover. I got the ebook version, and my ebook reader doesn't often show the cover, or at least not at a good enough resolution to make
the
them out.
Ebook of what?
Of Shannon's books. Oh, hey, Fat Corn.
Because the encrypted books have better covers.
Oh,
and that might be because that series was started later, so she had more clout to maybe have a say and actually put what the thing is about on the cover. Because it's stuff like magic for nothing, tricks for free.
Yeah, which I don't think
has a girl
you.
on. Well, so that cover at least has her like in a circus,
right?
On a tightrope, so like you at least know it's gonna involve a circus, and it's based on the title. It's gonna involve magic.
Yeah.
Shannon's
books get real dark, and I don't feel like a pithy, fun title like that really prepares you for what you're about to get into.
Well, the encrypted books are lighter than the.
That's true. Yeah. I think I've mostly read the Lost Children books.
And so then you get the Wayward Children books are I have mixed feelings about, because I feel like they convey the world the kid goes to, but not necessarily the plot. So like the Down with the Sticks and Bones has like a moody Moorish gothic-y landscape.
Yeah.
And the sugar fields, or I forget the name of it, but it's when they go to the candy place.
Yeah.
Has like
Has
a
a
pink
fun,
sky and
yeah, and like generally kind of
um
candy graphic
colored.
design.
Yeah. But like the October Day ones are like, here's a lady in a leather jacket
Okay.
looking off to the side in the mist, and
These are general modern day fantasy, fantastic realism, and you're like, no, no, no. In fact.
they look like they might be a murder mystery.
Yeah.
Which I guess technically sometimes they are.
Yeah.
They're just fairies involved.
Mhm.
But like looking at the cover, I would not guess that they were fantasy.
Yeah, they do look kind of murder mystery-ish.
Um, and I think the Dresden File covers are also not great, but I feel like out of any urban fantasy story where you're just going to put a guy in a leather jacket on the
On the
cover,
cover? Mm-hmm.
like Dresden Files, for all the Harry Dresden doesn't wear a hat jokes, him wearing the fedora on the cover, because he usually always
Sells.
has a cover,
Yeah.
a duster, and a magic. He at least has a magic staff.
Yeah.
So that's at least letting you know, because of the fedora and the duster, that it's going to be detective-y, noir-y,
Yep.
and then he has the magic staff, so you know magic's involved that way. So you might not get the specifics about that actual story.
But it's at least not leading you too far astray. Like, you're gonna get most of
Yeah,
that.
yeah, you're gonna get so for all the like making fun of the covers for always having him have a hat, like it is serving a marketing purpose
It is.
to give you noir. I would argue now, because they have veered so far into action, that
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't quite work anymore, but uh they've given him a gun on the newer covers, so I guess that
Yeah, I
is
guess that kind of sells it.
conveys action
Yeah.
rather than noir. Um but yeah, I don't know. I've been thinking a lot about covers lately.
Mm,
Um what does your cover say?
right.
Cuz I do like graphic designy covers more
Mm-hmm.
so than the guy in the leather jacket look in the misty arena.
Mm-hmm.
Um
Which doesn't really tell you a lot about what you're getting into.
mhm. Um what I do think is funny is, since the Rivers of London books started to sell well, I've definitely seen a few urban fantasies trying to copy its covers.
Good.
Um,
Did you see,
and I've
before
made,
we sign off tonight, did you see the biggest dickus wolf
yes,
thing going on this week? As it's very fun.
yeah, he sold all the books.
Which is all the books with his Trigun Yowie account.
What do you think about This Is How You Lose the Time Wars cover?
I think it tells you absolutely nothing. There are two
Right.
words. It doesn't seem to fit with the idea of a time war. It doesn't imply time travel.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a good seller for that book.
I mean, like, I feel like all it does is, because they call each other Red and Blue, one
Yeah.
bird is red and one bird is blue.
Yeah, and they went very not graphic designy with it, but like very like symbolic.
Yeah. I
And
like
that works for
symbolic
some
covers. I
books.
just want them to be like at
Yeah.
least put the birds on the um uh what I would have done if I was making that cover is do like some 60s style flat like silhouettes
Yeah.
that are spy looking.
Yeah. Which would probably
Make
sell
one
it a little
red,
bit
make
better.
one blue, and they're chasing each other around a clock.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah, that would work. For this one, I expect it to be about birds. And you're like, what? Where'd all the birds? I thought there was birders. Birders who travel through space and time.
and so sometimes like I uh in college listened to a talk by Chip Kidd, who's a cover
Mm.
designer,
Hmm.
and he talks about like a lot of things want to avoid something that is too on the nose. So that is probably why they didn't do the spies running around a clock thing for the
Yeah.
Time
Yeah.
War. That's maybe too literal.
Hmm.
Um, but he had like things he was most proud of
Mm.
cover wise. And one is I'm gonna story about the memoir of an alcoholic called Dry.
Oh, okay.
And then this is the cover.
Oh, that's cool. I like that a lot. It's like the ink was laid down wet and it's all bleeding
Yeah,
through the cover itself. That's a really cool idea. Like alcohol has been sprayed on it and it started to run. That's very
yeah.
thematic.
Um, so it's good thematic and it's not too literal.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot.
Um,
It also really
and
grabs
then
the eye.
yeah, and then this is another of his covers.
That's a nice one.
Yeah, a lot of his are really nice.
It's very
And
subtle because it's like it looks just like a hand at first, and so you count the fingers, and then you're like, oh,
yeah, and then you count the fingers. Yeah, and so I try to think about like what would he do for this book.
right.
Um, and he in his talk he talked about um when authors try to um get involved, it can be either a blessing or a curse.
Yeah.
And he did the cover for The Road,
Oh yeah.
and he talks about how the author his first thing was like a photo he took of a rusted up car on the side of the road.
Hmm.
Um, and he got told by the author that's too literal. And then the author then sends him a landscape portrait of a dilapidated theater and said, use this instead. I
Okay.
was like, this is landscape. It is not the correct format
Yeah,
for the book.
we can't really use that.
And he's like, you just put it on its side. So
Yeah,
then he
that's not
did
how this
exactly what
works.
the author asked for,
Yeah.
because he knew that marketing would say, no, you can't do
Yes.
this,
Yeah.
even if you are a bestseller. One of the author's other complaints was, why does my name have to be on it? Um, so if you look up the original cover of The Road, it's all black.
Yep.
And it says The Road in red. And the whole cover is a glossy black. And then the author's name is a matte black. And Chip
Interesting.
Kid's joke during the presentation was, so he can pretend that his name's not there if he wants to. And then he said the author suggesting something that went well is David Sedaris's book When You Are Engulfed in Flames. Because David Sedaris found a painting by Van Gogh of a skeleton smoking a cigarette.
Oh, nice.
And asked, can we use this? Because When You Are Engulfed in Flames is one of the stories is about him quitting smoking. And at first Chip Kid was like, this is a really famous painting. We probably can't get the rights to it. But he looked into it and it was in public domain.
Nice. Good.
So it all worked out, and that was the first cover for When You Are Engulfed in Flames.
Nice.
And the title comes from a Japanese sign in David Sedaris's hotel.
Good. When You Were Engulfed in Flames. Here's what to do.
Because it was supposed to do
Stop,
instructions
roll.
on what to do in an emergency in Japanese, and then underneath in not super great English. So supposed to be what you do when you're on fire.
Yeah.
I think it's machine translated to When You Are Engulfed in Flames.
When You Are Engulfed in Flames is a great translation and also sounds like a really good song about breakups and heartache.
And he designed the cover for Jurassic Park.
Oh, nice.
And
that's a really
the
iconic
cover
one.
was so well liked that they used it in the movie. So he got a graphic design payday.
Nice. All right. Well, I am about done for this evening.
Yep.
How about you?
I was done for a little while. When I was sending you covers, I was already done.
Cool.
I was letting you finish up.
Yeah, I've been.
Thanks everyone for coming to the stream. Hope you have a good one.
Yeah. We will see you next
we'll
week.
both be at VanCaf this weekend.
Yeah, if you're in the Greater Vancouver area, up in Canada, come check it out. We'll be at the Roundhouse Center in Vancouver. It's free to attend. It's Saturday, Sunday from 10 till 5, I think. Cool. So yeah, come check it out. It'll be fun.
Laters.
Bye.